Good afternoon, gentlemen. Started a little bit early today, and I want to address some of the comments that I got on the previous stream. I'll start as soon as we get a lot more subscribers joining, because I'm actually interested in what people have to say. There was one comment that also triggered me, because here I am imparting life advice. Let's put it this way, right? So I'm telling people how to live their life in the most easy way possible, how to have like a fruitful and fulfilling life without drama, without the need for any type of hassle. But I don't even charge money for this. Like I should because I'm giving such amazing advice. However, some people, even though the advice is free, they feel the need to mock it. And I just want to address that. Let me see. We were talking about Dr. Disrespect, right, the last stream. And one of the things that I got, this is what triggered me, alright? If you posted this, congratulations, you triggered me. Didn't you say before, V, that if you're a public figure, even a minor one, you shouldn't interact meaningfully with anyone unless they're either arranged by a PR team or you're acting as your own PR agent or secret and with someone you trust your life or something. So basically this is in reference to me saying that you shouldn't interact with minors online if you're a content creator. Like the only way you should interact with someone like that is if you're doing like minors period. You shouldn't. Unless you're like a content creator that makes videos and your entire audience is minors. I don't know, like you're Bonnie the Dinosaur or some shit like that. You're PewDiePie in his early age, right? Like you're doing a lot of Let's Plays and you just happen to have like a lot of minors. Then like the way to interact with them is very professionally. Keep it to a minimum. Just shake hands, do autographs, and move the fuck on, right? But I was saying you shouldn't interact with women either. Like if you're a married man, right? So like if you're a middle-aged married man and you're a content creator, do not interact with women unless you want to commission one for something. Like you're asking one to be a voice actress for your channel or for a project. Or she's an artist and you need her to draw some layout for your stream. Or if I'm trying to think like some exceptions. Oh yeah, if you're collabing with someone, right? Now, me giving this advice doesn't mean that you have to live your life this way, but for fuck's sakes, the Me Too era existed, right? Like, did you forget that? Did you forget how many content creators were getting banned and censored, right? Now, question this. If you lived your life the way I said it, would you get canceled? Because I think you can't. It's physically impossible, right? Like, if someone were to go, it's like, oh my god, V talked to this person, and I'm like, no, I never talked to minors. Right? Like, if you claim that, show receipts, but I never talked to my... And then you'd probably have, like, 5 or 6 people coming out and say, oh, yeah, he blocked me. You know, Keanu Reeves does this. Like, Keanu Reeves does not touch women in pictures. Like, you'll notice this, right? Like, Keanu Reeves, whenever some fans that are female want to take pictures with him, he doesn't put his hands on them. He's hovering the hands next to them. Again, you cannot label allegations against such a person. I have seen allegations against content creators, and some of them were true, right? And those people probably deserved it. But there were others that weren't true. And years later, it was found out that actually, right, the person that made the accusation lied. Sometimes they admitted of lying. And the content creator is still worse off for it. Like, they still lost subscribers, they still lost sponsorships, they still lost everything. So if you want to make fun of my advice, go for it. But take into account, I do not make the culture. I do not say that this is how things should be. I do not, agree with how things are. But what I am saying is how you can play the game so you don't get cooked. It's very simple. Don't fucking talk to minors, and if you're married, don't talk to women online if you're a content creator, period. And don't be smart about it, alright? OMV, you're basically saying that you shouldn't talk to your own kids. You shouldn't have kids if you're a man. Like, obviously, family doesn't apply. Obviously, and if you're a father, you shouldn't have your underage son on the internet anyway. It's like, that's a by the way. But like, again, you don't have to live my life. I'm just giving you the advice of what you can do so you don't get cooked. Because I guarantee to you, you're not going to like it if you're a content creator and you start losing sponsorships and shit. Right? So I don't know why people are making fun of what I'm saying, because like, I'm just giving words of wisdom here. But it is what it is. Yeah, don't blame the messenger. You are making the culture. I will tell you how I would make the culture, right? Like this would be my perfect utopia, and it's very similar to my country. Like the way Americans do things is very different than how Eastern Europe does things, right? So here, the way you're supposed to do things is that if a content creator does something illegal, then it's between him and the law, right? So like if he did something illegal, he's going to get prosecuted. Period. Right? Now, once he does something, like let's say a content creator does something bad, okay? It's going to be up to the people to decide if they still want to watch him or not. So like if people don't give a fuck, like let's say he's a married man, right? Let's say he's a married man, he even has a family, but he's caught cheating, right? So it's not illegal, but it's highly immoral, right? Now the the subscribers are going to decide if they give a shit about that or not, and the ones that do give a shit, they unsubscribe. Now, if a lot of people unsubscribe, then the sponsors leave, but the sponsors don't leave because they don't want to associate with them. The sponsors leave because there's no eyeballs to be had, right? Like the sponsor just wants people to see their product. The sponsor is not an endorsement of the person. Like the sponsor doesn't say that the person is a good job, a good man. Like that's how the mentality works here in Eastern Europe, right? It's very different to the mentality that's like in the United States. In the United States, it's like, oh my god, don't you know what the guy did? How can you talk to them? Like, I'm not going to talk to you if you keep talking to them. Like, how? But like, how can you be friends with that guy? Don't you know that guy is friends with the other guy? And it's like, okay, yeah, we don't have that here. But like the way I described it, I think it's the best way, right? Like if you do something illegal, the last thing on your mind is going to be that you're losing super chats. It's like if you do something illegal, you're going to have to deal with the cops, and you're getting arrested. Now, if the people themselves still like you after you're coming out, well, then they will follow you. If they don't like you, they unsubscribe. And if enough people unsubscribe, who's going to give you sponsorships? And there have been like many cases of such behaviors, like in Romanian content creators. I'm not going to give names. But there were guys that did get in trouble with the law, and when they came back from prison, the number of subscribers that they had was not even a tenth of what they used to have. And sponsors dropped them and everything else, and that was like literally grassroots. There was no, like moral outrage or why are you watching this guy or anything like that. It was simply like, okay, well, this guy is a piece of shit. People unsubscribed, and that was that. Like an OnlyFans, yeah, exactly. It's like an OnlyFans girls pretending to be married. Sorry, an OnlyFans girls that turns out to be married, right? So like you have this content creator which is selling a product, but she's like really not honest about it, right? So when it's found out, like people unsubscribe, and when people unsubscribe, she may cry misogyny, she may panic, but like at the end of the day, sponsors drop her as well because like there's no one there, right? So like being married and doing OnlyFans is not illegal, but it's immoral. Lying to the customer is also immoral. So it is what it is. Hello, Roberta Prus. Welcome to the show. Why doesn't Eastern Europe condemn web creators for attacking the people and the body politic? I don't really get the question, though. I don't know what you mean. Let's see what else is in the chat. Apparently cheating is illegal in 15 states. Is that a thing? Is cheating illegal? The thing that I researched recently for a video is that cheating in France is incredibly widespread. And I already mentioned this in a previous stream, that if you cheat in France, that in France, like the president, besides Macron, all of them had a mistress, and all the French presidents, they had mistresses, and the media knew about it, and no one gave a fuck, right? But meanwhile, in the United States, you have the Bill Clinton, Monica Lewinsky shit, and that went viral, right? So it's like a huge difference in mentality between the US and France. But the thing in France is that like cheating is so widespread, which is why a lot of people didn't judge the previous French presidents. And it's one of the only countries in the world where paternity tests are illegal. Like, that's right. You cannot have a 23andMe test. And the legislator thought that they want to protect families. It's to protect children, basically, right? Because they said, and this is like when they signed the law into effect, they said that they do not want a country where people can't trust each other. And I'm like, well, hold on a little bit. It's not really how it works. Like, the paternity test would actually make people trust each other. But what you're saying is that the situation is so out of control, is so out of touch that yeah. So you end up with a lot of men that are raising someone else's kid, and they don't want to allow paternity tests. The only way you can get a paternity test in France is if you get it on the black, right? So like you smuggle it in the country or some shit, which is illegal. Or if you get a court order, right? So like there's already a divorce and it's about paying child support, and the father says, well, this isn't my child, so then he gets a paternity test. But yeah, I got mind blown by the justification and the fact that paternity tests are illegal. It's just, yeah, they literally said it would destroy society. It's like, what the fuck, you know? Like, how many people are cheating in France? Like, what is the exact number? Russia is not hot on paternity tests too? Oh, I guess the more I find out. If all births came with a paternity test, the world would change in a blink. Oh my goodness. Would that increase the number of abortions or lower it? I don't know. Like it would be interesting. Yeah, like if every single birth would have a paternity test attached. I think like a lot of women would sweat bullets. I think like women would sweat bullets the same way that men sweat bullets when they found out that their girlfriend doesn't have their period, you know? Did you guys get the phone call when you were younger? When you were in high school, did you get the phone call? It's like, I didn't have my last period. And it's like, okay, well, I got good for you. What do you want me to do about it? And you see your life flash before your eyes. You're trying to joke. You're trying to remain funny, but yeah. Would it be rather dangerous when it comes to blood transfusion? No, that's when you actually can find out, right? So like, you can't have a paternity test, but you know the blood type of the kid, and even if the blood type isn't correct, I just want to point out, like, there are very few cases where a blood type incompatibility is absolute. Like for instance, you can have the blood type 0 and the dad can have AB. Like, theoretically, it's not possible, but there are, like, these very fringe, small exceptions where there's, like, a gene mutation, and you actually end up having the same blood type as your mom, right? Let's say your mom has 0 and you have AB, and you have, like, the one that's impossible, quote-unquote. But even then, like, even in that situation, there can be, like, a genetic anomaly, a genetic mutation, which I assume is incredibly common in France. So you can still say, well, I mean, he is your son, right? And even if you're the father, you can't order a paternity test to figure out. So you're just going to have to, live with that. Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons is that. I kept saying about it. It's like, look, I already told the story, and I'll tell it again. So basically what happened with Dungeons and Dragons is that Rags was a problem player. He ends up getting kicked out. And then Dev comes out and he goes like, oh, are we going to announce why Rags got kicked out? And we were like, I mean, sure, we can address it, but I just want to play D&D, dude. Like, I don't want drama, because if we focus too much on it, there's going to be too much drama. And he was like, no, V, Rags is my friend. And as someone that's my friend, I cannot allow harmful misinformation and fake news to be spread of him. So, like, okay, well, fine, we're going to say what happened. I mean, it's pretty fucking obvious, like, people realize, yes, V, but you left last time, and now you are here, and he is nowhere to be found. I mean, Jesus. Is that, okay, well, alright, well, fuck. We'll address it, So, Sargon, he says that, what happened is basically like, yeah, I mean, we didn't connect, we didn't click. And Rags didn't take it, Rags took it very well, and blah, 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 blah. So then the next day, Dev goes like, Rags doesn't like that it was lied about him, like fake news have been posted. Oh, he is so angry. And I now have to choose. I have to choose between my friend and you guys, and I cannot play in good conscience anymore. But if you guys choose another game, I would happily join. And okay, like, hold on. If you didn't want to play, why the fuck did you join for one more session just to cause drama? Fuck is wrong with you? Secondly, if we choose another game, do you think we're going to get you? You're in the doghouse. Shut the fuck up. So now we're organizing something else. But yeah, SRC, thank you for the $25. I'm late. Were worst calls ever from my girlfriend in college, man. For me, it was ever a couple of months because I was one of those idiots that would use the pull and pray method. I don't get it. Like, why don't people just use the condom, man? Like, the condom is sacred. There was such an agitprop of using the condom when I was a kid. Like I think like ever since we were 16 in high school, we had there was no banana, by the way. There was no banana, right? No banana, no nothing. We had this lady. Let me see if I can find the picture so you guys can imagine. Try to see if I can find actually a stock photo of what I need to. Yeah, okay, I found something. Right. So I watched Imagine, right? Like you're 14, no, sorry, 16, I think. Was 8th grade? Yeah, 8th grade. I don't know the exact age. But in 8th grade is the first time we got to talk. And there was like this lady, right? Not her particularly, but a lady that looks like this. And she was the same, except like her eyes were a little more baggy, like she couldn't sleep. And she looked incredibly upset to be there. You know, it's not like the type of person that you see at McDonald's that's happy to see. No, she was very unhappy to see us. We were unhappy to see her. The feeling was mutual. And then she brings a television into the classroom. And she brings a cassette tape, right? And she puts the cassette tapes. And she shows us, like, medical damage that you can get from syphilis, HIV, and other shit. It was like some of the most grotesque images that I have ever seen in my life. It scarred me. And after the presentation, she was like, this is what you get if you get an STD. Use a condom. Any questions? And like one person had a question, how do you put out a condom? And she literally looked at the person with the most amount of disgust and disdain that she can summon. And she said, once you open the box, there's an instruction manual for retards. It's even got pictures. If you can't figure it out, then maybe you shouldn't fuck. And then she also said, it's like, obviously, you know, like, it's not my job to tell you anything. You guys have parents. You guys know better. I would advise that you do not have any naughty things before marriage, but I'm also aware that you got hormones raging. So, in the unlikely event that you're going to have it, then use the condom. Because you don't want to end up like the pictures that you saw on television. And then she left. And that was the sex ed we got in Romania. That was like what I got in my country. And from that day forward, I never done anything without the condom. It was like the sacred instrument. I think it was like an entire campaign from the government, and it actually did lower STDs and unwanted pregnancies by a significant margin. Like that was actually very effective. And, you know, I understand Americans don't view it this way, and it's fine, you know, like, you can view it however you want, but, that's why we got in Eastern Europe, right? Like, there was no banana, there was no laughing involved, because once you saw those images, like, everyone was quiet. They were very graphic, let me put it like this. Kind of like going to med school, basically, right? So, yeah, it was enough to tell people that, just, perhaps you shouldn't. You know, don't be like that. Americans are weirdly fixated on unprotected sex. I don't know why, though. I just... Like, there's another thing. When you go from Romania to the UK, right? Like, in Romania, you can find condoms literally everywhere. Like, they're everywhere. Pharmacy, supermarkets, small 24/7 hours kiosks. Literally everywhere. I go into the UK and I ask for condoms at the airport, and they tell me that they don't have there, and they look at me like I'm some sort of bizarre pervert, and I'm like, I just want condoms. No, it's like, where do I get it? To the pharmacy? Why are they in the pharmacy? It's like, why there? So yeah, you gotta go to the pharmacy to get it. It's weird because of religious reasons. Yeah, we're a nation of risk takers. How is that going out for you? You know. Well, yeah, like in Romania, I had them at the airport as well. You literally have them at the airport. You have them everywhere. What don't you understand about everywhere? Everywhere. To be fair, though, it's also the fact that under communism we had like I think the strictest anti-birth control movement in the entire world. So under communism, let me show you what happened. We got the dear leaders, and this was actually I guess like a feminist movement, you could say, in a way, right? Because the dear leader was married to this lady. This was his wife, and she was apparently a world-renowned savant. Like every single science paper made in Romania was co-signed by her. Like she was that good. Anyway, she wanted people to have more kids, so condoms were banned. Women who would sign up for a job, like if they worked in the factory, they would have to subject themselves for like a 4 months checkup. Like every single 4 months, a doctor would come in to check to see if they're pregnant or not. They did this in high schools as well, like especially to like underage girls that they didn't even know what they're being checked up for. But the doctors were incredibly rude and vulgar because they weren't paid by the schools or the patients. They were paid by the government. And again, like the whole purpose was to see if a person gets pregnant so that they can monitor the person to make sure that the pregnancy is carried to term, right? They didn't want any sort of abortions. There was no contraceptives, no condoms, no pills, no nothing, right? Abortion banned under any circumstance. I think like this may actually be the reason why they executed her. Like I'm not even kidding. Because like usually in other places where you have a revolution, it's just like the dictator that gets executed. But in Romania, she got put on the on next to the wall as well. No, like literally, this really infuriated a lot of people, because what happened was, a lot of women that didn't want to have the pregnancy, they would either starve themselves, they would injure themselves, they would take various tinctures and medications and other shit, and oftentimes the kids that came out, the abortion wouldn't be successful, right? So it would fail, but like the kid would come out deficient. And Romania was actually on the top when it came to statistics in Europe, with the biggest number of children with various growth retards and various other illnesses due to this, right? Yeah, it was a really bad time, and if you go on Wikipedia, you can read about it. But is this lady, like, she's responsible for it. So after that, like, Romania went a lot more promiscuous, I guess. Like, there was a lot more freedom that was given after the communists passed away. Yeah. Yeah, it was literally the idea that more babies equals more serfs. Yeah, pretty much. I already explained that, Reggie. I'm not going to like repeat every single 10 minutes when someone else joins the chat. You're going to have to rewatch the stream, boy. You're going to have to start the stream again and rewatch it from the beginning if you want to find out why D&D got canceled. Because I did that shit one more time. I already said it 3 to 4 times. I can already see Arch accusing me of being a vulture. Like, V, you're focusing on drama. And I'm like, well, Arch, I got it because people are asking. You know, I got it. Got it. But I'm trying to keep it at the minimal, though. Anyway, this one was interesting, right? I think I'll make a video on my secondary channel about it as well. But it's the primordial manly jawline, right? So this was published in 2016. It's literally the first article, I think. And you can see like how to de-objectify a woman. Now this is a superhero. I think it's Power Girl, right? So like the only thing that you can say it's objectifying is the costume. No, actually not even the costume. Like she's not naked. She's having pants. It's just that they're skin tight. The reason that superheroes have like skin tight costumes is due to the fact that it's easier to draw, right? Like if you have to draw for a comic book, that's potentially like 60 or 80 pictures that you have to draw for a month. And you need to find out shortcuts. Like, you need to find out ways so that you can draw these characters faster in order to manage to reach the deadline, right? So you do like a lot of stuff. I saw that even the Vaskyver is being attacked for using like stock photos for some environments and shit. But this is kind of industry standard, to be honest. I mean, Marvel does it, DC does it, Disney does it. Like, Disney actually took entire animations from certain movies and put it to others. Tracing is also a thing that's being done. Like there's a lot of tips and tricks in order to do it. And having like superheroes that are skin tight, like the X-Men and shit, like that was something that they did in order to draw them faster. And it also looks good, right? Now if you actually have to draw elaborate clothing, like you gotta draw like pretty dresses and shit, that's difficult. So this is why, but they consider it to be sexualizing, right? So like a woman wearing cleavage is sexualizing. And it's like, okay, but like, you go outside, right now, as you can see here, it's 22 degrees Celsius, right? So it's like 22 degrees outside at 12 in the midnight. It was around like 32 during the day. So you go outside, how do you think women dress, man? Like, women do not dress as Sharia. So their solution is to make women look like men, right? Like, if you can't, obviously they changed the clothing as well. But as you can see, it's like the manly jawline, bigger arm muscles, thicker wrists, right? And this is what it means to desexualize. It means making it so that if you want to find this attractive, you gotta transition. You gotta be gay. Like if you're gay, you probably find this attractive. Like, it's fine, you know? But like every single woman is basically, because what they mean by desexualizing, not necessarily desexualize, because like someone is going to find this sexy. Like I'm pretty sure like someone somewhere is going to find this sexy. But it's probably not a straight person. It's probably not an individual that likes, that is born heteronormative, right? So this is going to be like probably by the LGBT community, which, you know, like, it's not a bad thing to like give fan service to as many people as possible, and you have like one character that's like this, but when every single fucking character is like this, that's when you start to notice, it's like, whoa, what are you actually trying to say here? What are you meaning by this? Yeah, the objectifying means transitioning. Like, literally, if you know, in the comic book that I showed you before, if this lady wanted to transition, it probably should look like that, yeah. Yeah, it's removing female characteristics, right? Like, if you get, I think like I knew this even when I was in first grade, right? Like, if you asked a first grader, like, what are the female characteristics, you know, like what makes girls girls and boys boys, they will probably start going with literally everything that these artists are removing. Cut glass with those nips. Why are they always afraid of the female body? Let me see if I can put it in a way that YouTube terms of service would allow me. Okay, I know. I will tell you why they are afraid of the female body. It's because they watched Rings of Power Plus Privilege. You know that scene with Gandalf sitting on the bridge, and they're going to Gandalf, and Gandalf goes like, "You shall not pass!" You know? A little bit cringe. I don't have the voice acting required, but like, you know, with Gandalf with his voice going like, "You shall not pass." Okay, that's why they're afraid. That is what, like, they don't want to meet Gandalf on the bridge of Khazad-dûm as they're running away from the Balrog, and Gandalf leaves them behind because Gandalf says, "You shall not pass." I hope I managed to explain why they don't really like feminine characters in comic books or video games or other places. They're afraid of the Balrog, but the Balrog is about to catch them. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. It was cringe. I know your ears. Yeah. No, I thought it would come out good. Like, in my head when I was doing the bit, I thought that it's going to come out really well. But then I actually screamed it, and it sounded like someone that needs another bucket of testosterone. You know, I wish an artist would draw me from DC or Marvel, and make me more manly. Cause yeah. Because of jealousy and ideology. It's more like the idea that I mean they're very open about why they're doing it, right? But you gotta read a lot of academic papers, which has like a lot of jargon in it, and it's very dry. But like if you read the academic paper, they literally believe that the standards of beauty that we have is like why women like, why men like women with big tits and fat asses, is because the media conditions them to, right? So they believe that because beauty magazines and comic books and video games all have like the same female character that has like big tits and fat asses, men like that. So if you change that and you made every single character with the manly jawline, then men are going to be reconditioned and they're going to start to like what the left wants you to like. But unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. Now, the reason they do this is because they unironically believe, and this is like what the academics write in their own papers. They're basically saying that all of us are tabula rasa, right? So basically, every single person is like a blank slate when they're born. You know, it's like the same hard drive made by the same company, and the hard drive is just empty. So after you're born with like this empty hard drive that can be filled, right? So like the way you behave, every single act, is because of society. But in reality, it's not like that. You know, like some people are made, you know, we may all be hard drive, but like some people are made by one company, other people are made by another company, and some companies make better hard drives than others. And some companies make even shit hard drives. Or you can even be a hard drive from a good company and you can still be defective. So basically what's on the hard drive is a combination of the quality of the hard drive itself as well as the software. But the left doesn't believe in that. They think it's 100% software. People at this, they think racial discrimination is helping and makes them more profit. No, actually, they said it doesn't, right? So, like, we got, I think, like, 3 Disney hidden cameras interviews where people that worked at Disney came out and they were basically saying, yeah, like, they don't hire you if you're a white man. Okay, hold on. I just saw something that blew my mind. There's this OnlyFans girls, which literally like has a big pictures of her fat ass in the screen, and she says, "Porn brain has rotted so many people's minds that they forget that women are indeed human and normal looking. Nothing is wrong with that, but they hold themselves to this sustained standard because of society and porn." This is another just a cope that I see it in the culture. It's like men want beautiful women because of porn. Again, it's the same mindset. Literally, it's basically because men see beauty magazines everywhere. They expect that the women they meet are like the women in the beauty magazine. And the reality is that there are so many men that are single, and they're not single because like they're very picky, right? Like if you go to like your average neighborhood incel and you ask him, it's like, why are you single? And it's because I can't find any girl that I like. You know, yesterday I spoke with 10 girls and all of them were icky. They weren't like in the comic book magazine. You know, right? It's like, just fuck me. But the fact that she actually makes OnlyFans and she complains about like society, is very interesting. It's just like, it's Twitter in a nutshell. What can I say? This is the absolute state of Twitter. Yeah, all the ancient emperors must have had big stashes of Playboys, yeah. There was like, no, I actually know what sparked this conversation, right? So there's this guy that was a professional League of Legends player, and he was dating like this, I think, well, she wasn't an OnlyFans girl, but she was very good looking, right? And he was dating her, and after a while, they break up. And they break up because he wants to focus more on playing League. Like, again, like he's a competitive League of Legends player. He wants to actually win. So he breaks up with this beautiful girlfriend, and people on the internet are shaming him. People on the internet are like, how can you do this? Like, look how hot she is. How can you choose a video game over her? And what he does is he posts a video with her without makeup. Right? And without makeup, she's like absolutely mid. right? Like she's definitely, she's not ugly, okay, but she's definitely not like with makeup. I mean, that is the purpose of the makeup at the end of the day. That is why it's $1 billion industry. And then all of the women, oh my fucking god, like from all the corners of the earth, from China, from India, I think I saw even a couple from the Middle East, and they were like, oh my god, men don't know what women look like. And it's like, no, that's not what the conversation is about, right? The problem is that you expected him to give up his hobbies and his preferences because he has to be a slave to this particular lady. Right? Like obviously they couldn't work it out. You know, like maybe in the future he can find a woman that also likes League of Legends and they can play together. But this particular one was just not a fit for him. Like this particular one wanted to distract him from his hobbies and he had none of it. And basically you actually hate it because this man chose his hobbies over a woman. Right? And you're saying that no, that's not supposed to be the case. Like men should be slaves. Like the moment a woman walks in and she has desires, as a man, he is obligated to fulfill them. Yeah. So like, no, that's not how it works, right? Like, I don't know the relationship between them. Like, it's quite possible that she wasn't supportive. It's quite possible that League wasn't even. I mean, what if she was like a very nagging person or a very boring person? You know, like I did have a couple of exes which were incredibly boring. Like, all they would talk about was nonsense, you know, like, and I was well-versed in many conversations, but there is only so much you can talk about shoes and fashion until you feel like you want to order a strong drink, you know? And you just don't connect with that. I mean, yeah, they were amazing looking, you know, they had beautiful bodies and stuff, but, like, they weren't able to have a constructive conversation. So obviously when you're with a girl like that, if you live with a girl like that, especially if they're nagging or if they're obnoxious, then you're going to try to retreat to your man cave, you know, and interact as little as possible. Now, if the relationship doesn't work, it doesn't fucking work. But when the internet goes like, oh my god, how can you live with a girl like that? You know nothing about her. You know nothing about her personality. Like, this is the same people that are like, oh my god, you only like me for my tits. What about my personality? And it's like, yeah, you do not care about her personality whatsoever because you never asked. You never asked. You don't know who she is. You have no clue about this person. The only thing you know is that, okay, with makeup, she looks like a 9 out of 10. And you just don't understand how the guy doesn't want to be with the 9 out of 10. And I'm like, because there's more in a relationship besides sex? I don't know. Like, you want them to live together, right? I assume. So, like, if she's not supportive of him, like, maybe another woman is going to be able to fulfill that role. God. And by the way, you know, there are guys that would rather be with a 7 out of 10 that's supportive than a 9 out of 10 that isn't. It's not fucking rocket science. It takes two to tango. Like, you need both people to agree with each other in a relationship. Because the question is, like, what, like, if it's a one-night stand, then yeah, like, looks uber alles. But if it's more than a night stand, and you actually want a relationship, and you actually want to form a household, then personality is very important. Yeah, man, they do have personality. Some of them. There are women that do have personalities. There are others that don't. It depends. It depends. But like, at least here in Romania, most women that I met had personalities. Usually, like, the ones that are absolutely stunning, like 100%, like 10 out of 10, those may be the ones that sometimes don't really have a personality, which is easy to explain. Like, imagine going through life and all the doors are opening for you, you know, like, everything you want gets done. Like, every social circle you enter, you're the star, you're the center of attention. Well, you don't really need to develop a personality. You can just be yourself. And most people, you know, they're very lazy. And when they get to be themselves, they don't really make a lot of effort in order to improve, because, like, there's no need to improve. Necessity is the mother of invention, as they say. And if necessity doesn't exist, then there's no necessity to improve. Yeah, Eastern women are different. I have seen the difference. I would say, like, Eastern European men are different as well. Some women can be good comedians, but not many. Shuanhead, I think, was a great comedian. I haven't followed her content, so I don't know. I think Pippa is pretty funny. Like, you don't get that many subscribers if you're not hilarious. How does one have a personality? Well, you need hobbies, basically. You need to be interested in various things so that you can be able to talk about things at a conversation, right? Like if your only interest is limited to, I don't know, like fashion and celebrity gossip, then it's going to be very difficult to have a conversation with someone. I mean, look, I can talk about fashion and celebrity gossip, like that's fine, but I can talk about it for like 1 hour, 2 hours. You know, like if we stretch it, if I'm really putting my mind into it, I'm pouring my heart and soul, I can talk 3 hours about celebrity and gossip. But after 3 hours, I'm done. Like, we need a new subject. We need to talk about something else. Do you rate Iron Mouse? I actually don't have time to watch as many VTubers as I did. But I think like Iron Mouse is the opera singer, right? So like she has talent. I guess she's very professional because she keeps herself out of drama. So I don't know if her company is keeping her in check, or she actually knows how to stay away from shit. But like you don't really get to see much drama with Iron Mouse. So yeah, she's a professional streamer, does great. You want me to talk fashion? I gotta start, you know. It's like, but what exactly? You gotta focus down, like the shoe industry, you know, or something like that. Purses. Can talk about purses. Do you know how much a Hermes purse costs? A Hermes purse costs around $100,000, and I'm like, who the fuck buys a Hermes purse? And I genuinely like don't understand. I tried. It's like, okay, well, it's a luxury item. All right, so like, why do you need it for? In order to show that you're wealthy. And it's like, all right, if you see anyone with a Hermes purse, that's a person that used to be poor and then matted up, right? This is the advice that I gave to my exes and to my waifu. It's like, whenever you see someone with a Hermes purse, that's a person coming from an impoverished background. You should feel compassion for them, right? Like, they got born poor, and then they managed to land a wealthy man, and now they have it. Because no one is going to fucking buy a Hermes purse with their own cash. Is it Mercury? Fuck. Oh my goodness. Was I wrong? Oh, I didn't get my fashion correctly. What? Why is it? No, see, this is what really bothers me. It's like, why is it that the chat always knows? Like, I can talk about the most fringe, esoteric subject. Dude, I guarantee to you, if I walk with you in a bar right now, like both of us, right? We're going into a bar, and we're sitting at a table, and there's 10 other people, and I start talking to them about purses. No one, unless there's a woman there, no one is going to have a fucking clue about what I'm talking about. Like, I can bullshit all I want. As long as I have, like, a serious face when I say it, everyone believes me. But when I'm on YouTube, and in my chat, there's going to be, well, actually, V, you know, it's not a Hermes purse, it's a Mercury purse, and it's not $100,000, it's $90,000. Like, fuck off. How you do it? God. It's literally the same God, yeah. Yeah, the chat is a collective, yeah. Fucking fashion police is what the chat is. Gucci sent men over to threaten a guy for buying one of their purses used and cutting it up? No fucking way. I don't believe that. It's actually 105,000. Yeah. No. Anyway, like it's ridiculous like that. I don't know. There is a place for luxury items, but like, okay. So I will tell you the common sense of when you should buy luxury. Like, why should you buy the latest iPhone? When you should buy an expensive watch? Why you should buy an expensive car? If you're a single man, okay, and you're like in your early 20s and you're dating, it depends the type of woman you want. Like, there are men that literally, they want a gold digger. Like, I know it's difficult to explain, but men like that exist because it makes them feel happy and wholesome when they give something to another person. I myself did not marry a gold digger, but there was a time in my life when I really liked giving gifts. I really like feeling appreciated and giving stuff. So like I was into ladies that were gold diggers. And when that happens, what you want is to have like the latest brand of smartphone, make sure that the screen isn't cracked, you know, like dress yourself appropriately. I didn't have a car, but apparently like there were other gold diggers that weren't interested in me, but like if you were interested in them, then you know, you get the car. So like that makes sense of buying luxury items. Like if you want to impress a lady, it's kind of like being a bird, like being doing the mating song shit, where you're like the male bird and you're gathering all the shiny pebbles to show to the other bird before making the nest. Okay, so like yeah, it's kind of like that. No, I did not have a big gold watch, but I did have like the latest brand of iPhone. Anyway, right. So that's like one way to do it. The other way is if you're a business person that's a freelancer. So let's say you're a lawyer or you're a salesman of some sorts. Like what you want to do is you want to show to people that you're wealthy, as in your business is doing great, as in you have a lot of satisfied customers, and it actually makes the client feel comfortable in closing a deal with you. So in that situation, it is okay for you to spend money on expensive suits. It's okay to spend money on expensive watches. It's okay to spend money on expensive stuff, because again, like you're trying to show the client, yeah, I'm actually doing great, right? Like I got a lot of customers. Everything is working fine for me. Business is booming. But other than that, I don't think, like, if you're a married person, there's no fucking reason why you should display wealth. Like, there is no reason you should try and impress other people, and it's like, oh, look, I got a Hermes purse, and all that other shit. No one cares, right? You're just wasting money. It's not that different from wearing a suit. Yeah, pretty much. Exactly. It's just like professionalism. Show her your Warhammer figurines. They don't know. They literally don't know. But like, if you show her your Warhammer figurines and you somehow like actually convince them how much they're worth, maybe, I don't know. The thing is, like, there is, okay, do you know when you play an MMO and it's all about the stats of your character, like you're using all this gear in order to bump up your stats, like you want to bump up your strength, your stamina, your intelligence, and then you go on forums and you're telling other people, it's like, look how powerful my character is. Okay, it's kind of like that with certain people. It's like, especially with some women that are gold diggers, they're like, look how rich my boyfriend is, as in, look how many stats my character has, right? Like you become a bragging chip. You're like, she goes to her friends and it's like, this is how expensive my boyfriend is, right? Like, this is how and like her displaying the Hermes purse is like her standing up as well, like she's getting up. Yeah, literally, look at my level 70 dwarf. Unironically, like, yes, that is the reality. Oh shit, Mike Newell, thank you for the RS50. V, why are normies so boring and never talk about their dreams and ambitions? Because they're afraid of being judged. Like, the whole Dr. Disrespect thing, man. I seen a couple of streamers, big celebrity streamers, come up to disavow him, right? Now let me see if I can find the video, because this is very interesting about modern American culture. Now I said my thing about Dr. Disrespect without any pressure. Like, I just don't care. Like, I basically said what I think. But there were two streamers. I'm still scrolling, but I can't find them. I think like one of them was Nick Merckx and another one was the Hat Guy or some shit. I don't know them, but like they released videos. And the reason that I can't take them seriously is because they actually know the guy. They have his phone number. They can literally call him. They can literally call him and talk to him and say, look, man, I disassociate from you. But they're not doing that. What they're doing instead is they're making the public spectacle, right? And when they're talking about it, you can see on their face that they're really unhappy with the fact that they have to cut ties with Dr. Disrespect. Like you can see it on their eyes. You can see it on their face. They're really not happy that they have to do this decision, because, like, you know, the guy was streaming with them. Like, they were benefiting from that. They were getting subs. They were getting views, right? Probably behind closed doors, they may have helped with sponsorships and shit. But now they have to cut ties. Why do they have to cut ties? Because if they don't cut ties, then there's like the cultural backlash. It's what other people think, right? So like what other people think means that they can lose sponsorships, they can get harassed, they can get all this shit. So you gotta, no, it's not even making money from drama in this situation, right? It's more like, I gotta say what needs to be said in this situation or else I'm gonna get in trouble. Because again, like they could literally phone the guy, right? Like they can literally pick up the phone because they have his number and they can call Dr. Disrespect and be like, hey, yeah, I'm not comfortable with what you did. I don't think we can collab anymore, blah, 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 right? But they're not doing that. Instead, they're doing it in public. They're making like, oh, I can't support something like this. Oh, I can't imagine. Oh, I can't support it. Oh, no, 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 no. And it's like, okay, but why are you doing the public spectacle? And the reason they're doing the public spectacle is because they're more concerned about what other people think, right? They're not like, I will never know their personal opinion. Like, maybe their personal opinion actually aligns with what they are saying, but I can't be sure. Because it's the culture. It's the way that the culture pressures people into saying the correct thing. Yeah, they will get in big trouble. Big trouble if they don't. Dice Park Studios, some women are paid to win, some are not. It's true. They were sad to cut ties because they can no longer sit in the chair and watch the doctor disrespect their wife. Shit. Okay, no, I said it in the beginning, right? Because a lot of people ask me, it's like, V, what do you really think of this? Like, how would it be in your perfect utopia? Like, if you were God and you created the perfect society, how would it be? How would you solve issues like the one with Dr. Disrespect? And my answer was like, it's very similar here in Romania. And I think like the way we do things is actually pretty good in this manner. If you do something illegal, right? So if you commit a crime, it's between you and the law. So we're talking about Me Too accusations. We're talking about every other shit, you know, plagiarism, whatever, right? It's between you and the law. Like the authorities come in, they do an investigation. If they find enough, you lawyer up. You show your evidence, they show theirs, a judge decides, right? So like for criminal activity, between you and the court. For public stigma, right? Because sometimes you may do something which is not the criminal activity, but it's still immoral from a societal point of view. Or both, you know, you can still actually do a crime. So, okay, this person committed a crime. Should he still be popular or not? We actually had that in Romania. There was a famous presenter on TV and he ran over some person with a car and then came back to the telly. And people were moralizing about it, right? They were like, I'll talk to you about that case in a bit. But like, okay, so from moral issues, you have people that if they like the person, they subscribe. If they don't like the person, they unsubscribe. If enough people unsubscribe, the person doesn't get sponsorships. And that is grassroots, that is democratic, right? If someone does something immoral that is beyond the pale, people unsubscribe. There you fucking go. And once people unsubscribe and you go from like 1 million subscribers and you go to like 500,000, then the sponsors will be like, well, hold on a little bit. I was paying you this amount for a contract because you had 1 million subscribers. Now you don't. So either I pay you less or you choose another sponsor, right? So like this is pretty much how it should be. The perfect example of this happens to be in my country. So in my country, there was a guy by the name of Huidu. Huidu had a TV show which was incredibly popular. It was very, very popular with young people. This is the guy, right? Huidu and the Chick. His name was actually Chicken. Like he literally had this name, right? And it was like a stand-up comedy type of it. Well, not really. It was basically them making fun of other TV shows. Like that was their shtick, you know, like whenever there was a bloopers on another channel or whenever someone did something bad, they would basically take it, mock it, make fun of it. And a lot of people from television didn't like that, but the public loved them. So a lot of like the professionals, right? Like a lot of the other famous media personalities, actors, like they despise these people because they would always make fun of them. But the public loved them. Now one day, this guy, Huidu, is speeding with his car, and on a low visibility curve, if I remember, like, by the way, this is just like me talking from memory, like the details may not be there, but the essence is the same, right? So like on a low visibility curve, He overpasses another car, and the police stops him and basically tells him, it's like, okay, that's a major traffic violation. We're going to suspend your license, blah, blah, blah. He gets angry. He's like, oh, you're only picking on me because I'm a celebrity. Everyone does what I do, blah, 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 blah. Now, a couple of months, if not years later, same shit happens. Low visibility curve. Guy overtakes. But this time, he actually runs full frontal collision into another car of people. And the other car is completely total. Like, he was driving a 4x4. He had protection. He survives. Many from the other car don't. And, you know, this is now a major public scandal. Everyone is like, Jesus, like... Everyone is like armchair psychologizing this. It's like, how could he... This would have been prevented. Why did he argue with the police officer before? Right? Now in the United States, it would have been like 100% cancelable. 100%. Like there is no way that this person would ever work in showbiz again, you know. But when in Romania. So what happened is, like, he took an absence, comes back, low viewership for a while, put up content, viewership grows. Now the people themselves could have canceled him if they didn't want to watch it. I personally didn't want to watch it. Like, I stopped watching it after that. I was like, dude, like, I know what the guy did. I can't watch it. It's like, if he was making any other type of show, if he was making, you know, like, talking about historical documentaries, if he was talking about anime, like, fine. But he's trying to make comedy. Like, he's trying to make people laugh. Like, whenever I see him, I associate him with that. I can't laugh. You know, it's not funny. For me, at least, you know? But, like, I wasn't telling other people not to watch it. I was just like, I personally don't watch it. Like, I personally cannot watch something like that. It is what it is. But other people did watch it, and he's having a show even now, after so many years. So, my point is that this is a better system than the Americans have. Like, why should a couple of elites decide what the public gets to watch and doesn't get to watch? And it's like, oh, but like, what about the sponsors? Yeah, I don't think like Coca-Cola that sponsors on this show is basically endorsing what Huido did, or is like attaching itself or saying that these people are a good guy. No, like, it's a transaction, right? Like, they want people to see the product. They know how many people watch it. So, like, if you want Coca-Cola to stop advertising, stop watching it. Because, like, Coca-Cola doesn't advertise everywhere. You know, like, if you have, like, 5 viewers, you're not going to get an ad from them. Like, you need to have, like, a significant number of viewers for companies such as Coca-Cola to even be remotely interested in putting their brand on you. So, like, yeah, if you're that outraged that Coca-Cola endorses this, stop watching it. I tell others not to watch as well, but it's still up to them. I generally don't care what other people watch. And I don't like it when other people tell me what to watch. You know, if you want to watch, like, the most mind-numbing, trash-tier content, go for it. I guess, like, when I'll have a son, I'll be more concerned about what he watches. But, like, other than that, no. There's a morning show at the TV fashion, forgot which one, maybe Pro TV, and that has either dancing babes or chicks doing workouts. Ah, man of culture, I see. Zlixion, thank you for the $2. Missed the start, watch it later. Well, I'm sorry you missed it. I did start it a little bit later than usual. Romania isn't real anyway? I don't know. I think, like, a lot of countries in the West were like the way we are now. We just went through a very strong authoritarian phase with communism. And a lot of the culture is still built around that trauma, so it will take a while. I'm pretty sure, like, we are going to catch up with the West eventually, but, like, we're not as moralizing as the West. We're not as, like, we don't like strangers telling us what to do. Like, it's fine to tell another person what to do if they're part of your family or you know them, but, like, to tell someone else what to do is like, no. Listen, if all these people are distancing from Doc now 3 years after the event just to save face, they don't really care. Well, when you say save space, it's like, is it good or bad for business, right? Like, a lot of people forget that streamers don't do what they do just because it's entertaining. Like for some streamers, it is entertaining, but like after doing the same stuff for years, it becomes a job. Like you're streaming the same way a celebrity goes and presents the news, right? Like it's the same shit. It's a job. Except like the celebrity has more people and staff. But like you're still going in front of a camera and you're still talking with the camera and you're doing this for days on end. So, you know, it is a business is what I'm trying to say, right? Like streamers don't do like through the magic of the internet, you feel that you're living with the streamer and you're enjoying his emotions and you're taking part in his daily activities. But in reality, it's a bit. Like all streamers are having a bit. They don't act like this behind closed doors. And for them, it's a business. And they're like, okay, well, this guy is getting dropped by all sponsors and he's losing millions of dollars. I have mortgage, I have a family, I have debts to pay. He's a toxic asset. That's literally how they think. They think like, okay, this guy's toxic. It's a toxic asset. I can't associate my brand with them. And that's that, right? Is it wrong? I don't think so. Like, you need to have this mindset, especially like if you're talking with a streamer that just started and that person is genuine and shit, yeah, you know, that person may actually expect that you're going to be their friend. And this is when, like, if a streamer like that comes to me, I give them the talk and I say, look, you're not here to make friends, all right? Well, actually, no, hold on. Bad talk. The correct talk is, what do you want to accomplish? Like, do you want to make money out of streaming? Like, do you want to make it as a living? Or do you want to use streaming as a way of having fun? Well, if you want to make streaming in order to have fun, then yeah, sure, go around, make friends, you know, just know that big streamers will never be your friends. Just go around and make friends with people that are in the same subscriber range as you. Or if you really connect with someone, you know, whatever. But if you want to make money and you want to make it into a business, then you have to treat it like a business, right? Like you need to treat it as the same way that a business entrepreneur treats his business. So don't expect that other streamers are going to be buddies or compassionate with you, right? Like they are going to ask, it's like, okay, I will associate myself with you, but what do you bring to the table and what do I bring to the table? So basically, when you go to another streamer, you're asking them for their time, you're asking them for their airspace, and you're asking them to allow their audience to see you. So, like, what exactly do you bring? Well, if you're just like a random person that just started and you're going to Asmongold that has millions of subscribers, why should he give you his time? Right? Do you know him personally? Like, did you meet in real life? Does he know your mother? Did you serve in the military with him? No? Okay, well, it's a business. And you don't have anything to offer to him. So if you don't have anything to offer to him, start grinding, start working on your platform until you're the same size as him. And once you're the same size as him, then you have something to offer and then you can collab with him. And for some fucking reason, when I tell people reality, they think that I'm an asshole. And it's like, no, I'm just telling you how things are, alright? Like, you don't have to listen to me. I'm not making the patch notes. Like, I'm not creating the content. I'm just telling you how to play the game. I'm telling you the meta. Off topic, is Dracula Castle a real thing? Oh my goodness. So, alright, you gotta understand, Dracula as a thing is not a Romanian story. It's actually written by a foreign author, which came into Romania, and they saw the Bran Castle, and because they saw the Bran Castle, they actually, they wrote a story in which Dracula lived in it. So now the Bran Castle is associated with Dracula, even though it's not his castle. So Dracula was this guy. He got sent as a ward to the Ottomans, right? Hold on, let me show you the map of Europe. I don't think I can find an accurate map. Here we go, right. So, you can make some really good Game of Thrones after this shit. Alright, so Dracula was from this place. It wasn't Romania, it was called Wallachia. Now Wallachia is this little tiny patch of land, not very fertile, that is north of the Ottoman Empire, right? You can see that the Ottoman Empire is a little bit big. And in order for the Ottoman Empire not to invade Wallachia, they would request that the ruler of Wallachia send their children to the Ottoman Empire to be raised, right? And they would be treated exactly like in Game of Thrones, where the Sultan respects these kids. I mean, they're treated like nobles. And the idea is that if Wallachia would ever raise arms against the Ottoman Empire or refuse to pay or anything like that, if they don't pay the tribute, then they execute the kids, right? This is how the politics of the medieval society was like. And Vlad the Impaler is actually taken to the Sultan court, where history alleges that he got the boot sex either from the Sultan or from some other people. But regardless what is happening, it traumatized him. And he doesn't like the Ottomans. He doesn't like them one bit. Now, when he returns to the throne, he has knowledge of the Ottomans. He speaks their language, knows their culture. He knows their military tactics. He knows what they do with other countries. And he uses that to his advantage in order to wage a campaign of terror against the Ottomans, and he's incredibly successful on it. So much so that he is being awarded the Order of the Dragon. I don't know if it was the Holy Roman Empire at that point. But anyway, he gets awarded the Order of the Dragon for his successful campaigns against the Ottomans. And the Romanian people, they do not know what a dragon is like, right? Like, we do not know... they did not have the word for dragon. It's not in our mythology. We have other things that are closer to it, but like the concept of dragon, that's Western Europe, right? Like, this is Eastern. So they couldn't pronounce it. It's like, instead of saying dragon, we have a word that's close to it, which is Dracula, which means devil, right? So Vlad having this dragon, this dragon medallion around his neck, people didn't know what it is. It's like, oh, it's a devil. It's Dracula, right? So from Dracula, you get to Dracula, and that's why you have, like, Dracula. His campaign was built... I mean, when you have a nation like this, right? When you have, like, this tiny nation, and you're fucking with all of this, you know, it is a little bit impressive, to the point that even today the Turks are like, yeah, you know, like, they kind of respect Vlad the Impaler. His campaigns were marked by the night attack from Târgoviște. So, like, during the night attack, again, he spoke the Ottoman language. Like, back then, language was a huge barrier between countries. And like, you didn't have internet. You didn't know how people look like. So what he did is, like, he actually trained a couple of men to dress like janissaries. They taught them, like, how the Turks operate their military camps, what the passwords is like. And he went into the middle of the night with his 20 good men, like in the Game of Thrones, but a little bit better written. And he created chaos in the Turks' ranks. And he managed to defeat a significantly larger army because he annihilated most of their officers and demoralized their troops, constantly harassing their supply lines. So he won many victories this way. And then there's also, like, the Forest of Pikes. Like, when you would go into Wallachia, you would see barren wasteland. All the wells were poisoned. All the fields were burnt. And on top of that, you had, like, this huge wall of pikes with all the previous Turkish prisoners. And piking in medieval time was basically like putting someone's... putting a pike up to someone's anus and pulling it out through the mouth. And apparently they didn't die instantly because that would stop bleeding. And they could be alive like that for quite a significant while. So imagine, like, seeing something like that as you're entering a foreign territory. It's not very pleasant. And yeah, like, complete demoralization through the Turks. But then, you know, like, he wants to form an alliance with Hungary. So he wants to go through Hungary and demand for military aid. And I think, like, that's when he gets locked into Bran Castle. I would have to, like, rehash a little bit on Romanian history. But yeah, like, he basically gets betrayed, and they lock him up. And they keep him as a bargaining chip with the Ottoman Empire. So that's why the Bran Castle is associated to Dracula Castle. And that's why it's in Transylvania. because this is Hungary. It basically at this point is Transylvania, right? But as you can see, Dracula actually comes from Wallachia. So there you go. You know, it's a beautiful, beautiful story. Most of Romania, most of European history is like this. Listen, if all those people are distancing from Dark now 3... Oh, sorry, I already read this one. It's Berserk in real life? I didn't know. Describing 90% of my Crusader King campaign? Yeah, the putting people on pointy stick part. Romania had a... Well, actually, Wallachia had a huge problem with criminals and corruption, right? So basically, before Vlad gets to the throne, the deep state of Wallachia was incredibly corrupt. So you have like a lot of kings that go on the throne, they sit there for like 4 or 5 years, they get rich, then they abdicate, and then you have the new king doing the same shit. So there was this custom that whenever a king gets to the throne, everyone celebrates and they open the dungeons. So all the criminals, all the thieves, all the murderers and rapists, all of those are being allowed to walk again free. They get a pardon, basically, right? It's kind of like when Elon Musk took over Twitter and most people got a pardon. Like, this is what was happening in medieval time in Wallachia. Now, normally, that wouldn't be an issue because you only get, like, one king once every 40 or 50 years. But due to the current situation that you had so many kings getting up to the throne, like, the doors of the dungeons were opening so fast that you had like strong career criminals that wouldn't care because they knew, okay, I commit a crime, I go to prison, but then I get released. So, and it caused a huge problem in Wallachia. A lot of problem with highway robbers, like merchants weren't able to conduct trade. The markets weren't safe. Like in order to sell something on the market, you actually needed to have armed guards to protect you. So when Vlad comes to the throne, he throws this massive feast, and he invites everyone to the feast, including beggars and people who used to be criminals, right? Like the invitation was for criminals and other people to say, you know, like you're celebrating your release, and you know, I want you all to be decent member of societies, blah blah blah. Now he has the guards, like his own deep state, his secret service, if you will, go in. And take away the people that weren't supposed to be there. They escort them out. And then they lock the doors and they set the whole place on fire. And he's got riders moving around the place burning, shooting everyone that tries to escape. The reason he got beggars as well is because, according to him, like this is historically accurate apparently, he believed that a beggar is less than a thief because at least the thief robs you at gunpoint and you can resist. But the beggar talks to the strings of your heart. So that's why he didn't like them. But then he had like some of the cruelest punishments for thievery and for any petty crime. Historians questions whether or not he was sadistic, whether or not, you know, he enjoyed this type of thing. But what is true is that Wallachia became like one of the safest countries in Europe. There are historical descriptions by other people, right? So like other foreign nations with merchants that traveled to Wallachia. Saying that they were able to even leave their gold unguarded. So, like, if you put the gold in the middle of the well of the market, no one would touch it until you came back to pick it up. Like, no one had the courage of stealing anything. So from that perspective is why he is called the Impaler, right? Because that was, like, his preferred method of execution. But I don't think it's necessarily, like, due to him doing it. Because, like, there's other rulers that did similar things. Some of them worst, but whatever. You know, I think like it's the forest that really bothered people. Like he took these prisoners of war and had like 100 or 1,000 of them piked, and yeah, that's not good, even for that particular time. Also, the fact that he killed the diplomats. Like you're not supposed to do this. Right, this is why if you watch the 300, yeah, that show where Leonidas kills the diplomat and he's like madness, you know, because they generally didn't do that. But the Ottoman Empire did send a couple of diplomats to him in order to ask why isn't he paying the tribute. And the Ottomans had like let me show you in a bit. They had this. Basically, the military ones, the Janissaries, had this, but like all of them that were high ranking or important, they had something to cover their head, right? Now, in Romania, it's customary that when you meet a noble, right, especially in his own house, you're supposed to take off whatever covers your head and bow. Like, this is our custom. Their custom was like, no, under no circumstance you should take off your head covering. And Vlad knew this, and he basically, when they come in, he's asking like, why are they taking off and respecting the Romanian custom? And he's like, well, no, because Allah is more important than Romanian custom. And Vlad basically said, oh, so you're saying that it would be dishonorable for you if you took down your headgear. And he's like, well, the last thing that I would want is for you to suffer dishonor in my country. So if you guys please bring me some nails so I can nail these to their heads to make absolutely sure that no one is going to pull them off while they're staying here. And according to the legend, well, it's not even the legend, it's actually what happened, because this actually created the war with the Ottoman Empire. Yeah, no one did take away their hats while they remained in Wallachia. Probably forever, I think. I don't know if their bodies were ever recovered. Like, history doesn't talk about that, but yeah. Berserk after the Resign arc is a massive letdown. See, I'm glad I never actually got into it. There's a European movie where they portray this incident. It is quite a significant thing because, like, again, no one touched the diplomats. Like, it was considered something incredibly dishonorable to do. Because diplomats were necessary in order to have negotiations. Like, there was no Twitter, there was no phone, there was no other way you can contact people except through diplomats. So they were incredibly important in order to just have normal conversations between leaders. Janissaries were not castrated. You're making a confusion with eunuchs, like, and the ones that had to guard the sultan's wives. Janissaries were young men taken from other corners of the empire. They were usually part of the blood tribute. They were indoctrinated since birth, trained through the harshest means necessary, and then they were made into fiercely loyal servants of the Ottoman Empire. And they were also very, very respected. Right, so they were kind of like slave soldiers, but like they were incredibly respected. And if they managed to fulfill their service, they would actually be allowed to own land and marry. So, yeah. I got lied to about Vlad being despised by the Catholics. Even though Vlad was... I don't think the Catholics despised Vlad. He had really good relationships with the Pope. He was an Orthodox Christian, right? So he wasn't a Catholic. I think like the Catholics feel meh about him, like not positive or negative, but like from the perspective of the Pope, he was the ones holding the Muslims at bay, right? Like he was like Wallachia was one of the nations that was holding off the Ottoman Empire from encroaching further into Europe. So no, and I don't think like the Catholics dislike Vlad. Vlad the concern troll, yeah. Yeah, but the Janissaries weren't like, look, the Janissaries, while technically slaves, they weren't slaves in the sense of doing like manual labor. Like they needed to be manly in order to go to war, right? So like they needed their testosterone, if you will. They were the elites. They were kind of like, okay, the best representation that we have with what Janissaries would be is like child soldiers. Kind of like that, right? Like you take a child and you indoctrinate them into the ways of the empire up until they end up growing into like the lean, mean killing machine that the Janissaries were. Anyway, right. I should take a little break now because I do have other videos to upload. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.